western edge of the Kimberley in the north of WA. It's on the shores of Roebuck Bay, named after the ship of the English buccaneer William Dampier, who visited here in 1699. This is Cable Beach in Broome, folks, where we are right now. Famous for its camel rides at sunset. It was so named because the undersea cable from Java came on land here in 1889. The beach is stunning, 22 kilometers of dazzling white sand, and you can drive along it at low tide. Well, Broome was once the pearling capital of Australia and the pearling capital of the world. The pearling industry declined after World War II when plastics took over, but up to that point pearl shell was highly sought after. In the early 1900s, the pearl divers were mainly Asians, Japanese, Malaysians, Indonesians. In fact, in the 1920s, Broome had a population of around 2,000 Europeans, 8,000 people who were classed as other races, and an unknown number of Aborigines, but the other races were mainly responsible for the pearl diving industry. In the 1920s, there was a fleet of about 300 pearl luggers like these here, who sailed around the area and collected the pearls. The Boab tree, the prison Boab tree just outside of Derby. It's so called because it's hollow and there's a small entrance on the other side. Legend has it that Aboriginal prisoners were kept in here, but it was probably more a resting place. It still is still a site of religious significance for the Aborigines. Back in the 1800s, Aboriginal young men were kidnapped in the Kimberley and marched in chains to the west to work in the pearling industry, so-called blackbirding. Boab trees themselves are very interesting, actually. This is the Australian genus, just one of the smallest of the Boabs. There's one species in Africa, and there are 6 species in Madagascar. The Australian Boabs are believed to have been here for about 190 million years, and they think they originated from material that washed ashore from Madagascar. It's very hard to estimate how old Boab trees are, but they estimate that some of the oldest will be several thousand years old, and that would include this one. here, this cattle trough just outside Derby, next to the Boab prison tree which we just looked at, is touted as the longest cattle trough in the southern hemisphere. It was built in the First World War. Before then there was a well here which was used for watering cattle from the Kimberley before being shipped in Derby. Okay, this here is Gorge. It's about 18 kilometres out of Fitzroy Crossing. It's a gorge carved through the junction of the Geekie and Oscar ranges, which used to form part of the Devonian Reef that circled the Kimberley. This area has been cut off from the sea for thousands and thousands of years, and the river actually hosts stingrays, sawfish that have adapted to the freshwater environment.